Harekrishna.
Harekrishna.
Who's in charge here?
By that, how, like the yogi?
I'm like Nandu from India. Who is here?
There's people in the kitchen. I don't know if you want to talk to them.
Where is that?
Let me show you.
But they will start some prayers here?
Yeah, sometime later. I'm not sure what time it is, but later on, yeah.
Please.
उसमें तो लिखा है 4:30 से, मतलब एटलीस्ट लाइट तो जलानी चाहिए इनको 4:30 बजे।
प्रसाद भी होगा
वो कुकिंग चल रही है, जब खाने का टाइम है तो सब आ जाएगा। अच्छा हम एक बार आके तो बहुत अच्छा भजन कीर्तन इन्होंने बहुत अच्छा किया, बैठ जाइए।
वो उनको तो जरा समझा देना कि कैसे
मैं तो जो बोलो उसका ऑपोजिट बात करता हूँ, उसके लिए
मैंने समझा दिया प्रॉब्लम जिससे आपको जो मुश्किल समझ रहे हैं।
सबसे पैदा हुआ है, सबसे कॉम्प्लिकेटेड। कि आपको एक दिन आधा दिन रह गए, आपको समझ गए ये हम तो अपना, मैं तो जो जैसा करूँगी जो मेरा हस्बैंड कहता है। मेरे घर में सिर्फ मेरे हस्बैंड की चलती है।
5:30
का टाइम है।
अच्छा
अभी कोई है नहीं, ढोकला वो आए तो मैं आपको।
ठीक है
बेटा
45 मिनट है।
अभी आया है तो क्या करो? हार्मोन से
आज है बॉबी का बर्थडे।
अच्छा बॉबी नो बर्थडे आज।
हाँ
हम तो यहाँ आके मोबाइल भी ऑन करना भूल गया। होगा क्या, कुछ नहीं, हमारा तो ही नहीं ना,
वाईफाई चले गए।
अब तो वाईफाई चलता नहीं, कुछ नहीं है, सिम है नहीं, किसी से बात हो नहीं सकता, कुछ भी कर सकता।
तो आपका वाईफाई काम नहीं करेगा मेरे घर पर?
नहीं तेरे घर पे करेगा।
हाँ अच्छा फिर ठीक है।
हाँ नहीं तो बदल हो जाए, सीधा पौधे खाने में जाके करना पड़ेगा। मनीषा है ना?
हाँ
अपने घर में फोटोकॉपी का है क्या?
हाँ है।
तो एक फोटोकॉपी इनको एक दो जो मेरा है ना लिस्ट, वो फोटोकॉपी के लिए करके दे देता है।
अच्छा
सोचे कि
अभी तो ये वापस शायद ऊपर आए कि नहीं आए?
कौन?
भाई
अरे आएगा
यार
नहीं, क्योंकि जब तक हम घर पहुंचेंगे इनको पार्टी में जाना है।
अरे पार्टी पेपर की फिर तो अपन कब देंगे?
नहीं मैं पिक्चर लेके भेज सकती हूँ ना।
अच्छा स्कैन करके तो भेज देंगे।
नहीं तो ऐसे फोटो करके भी भेज सकते हैं।
क्यों भेजिए?
चेक इसमें से क्या क्या हम ढूंढ सकते हैं। अबाउट दैट आई एम इंटरेस्टेड। ये कुछ हमारा भी ठहरा लगे ना महाराज, नहीं तो हम हमारा सारा टिकट को आगे पीछे लगे भागे नहीं समझे। हमारे को एक बार एडवान भी तो मिल ले। हरे कृष्णा प्रभु।
हरे
ओम हरे। हरे कृष्णा प्रभु। अच्छा हाँ पहले जिला प्रभु बात को शरण छो राम। I was very close, 73 to 74. 77 he died. वृंदावन में ये भी क्लास। वृंदावन में ही died. तो बहुत एज में इन्होंने he started and what a revolution this man. इतना राइट है। बस। प्रभु। हाँ आप आया रोशनी है। प्लीज कम।
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
You are from?
I'm from Los Angeles. I'm from here.
You.
Yeah.
I'm a late member from Bombay.
Oh, God. You?
1973.
Wow.
And I was very close to Prabhupada.
Wow.
Balkrishna Maharaj. Harekrishna Maharaj. Harekrishna Maharaj was left now. He's not with ISKCON. Pepataka Maharaj. All okay. That's a little bit in nutshell actually. Do you have a guest house here?
We don't produce in a guest house. We live in LA. But maybe we can get in touch with the Houston community. And usually, sometimes when the majority come, they host it at the Lady Policy.
क्या बोल रहे हैं?
Because, yeah, we like some of the national facilities like this time.
कलवर सिटी लॉस एंजल्स में
Mostly, yeah. Very
वहाँ पे वो
लॉस
वही मैं कह रहा हूँ। Los
हाँ, नहीं
Angeles.
कुछ
Los Angeles.
But I am phoning them.
Huh?
I am phoning them.
You're calling them? They're not.
I am calling them. But that is going on record.
Oh,
Recording my doctorate.
right.
You do one thing. Can you get me the list of all the temples in US?
Well, I mean, it's put in the back of all the books. But maybe it's
You get me one,
okay.
please.
Sure. Okay. What's your name?
What's the name?
My name is Damodar.
Damodara Kumar Das. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Take it out.
Oh.
Now,
Oh.
હું તમને એ મંદિર નું કહ્યું લોસ એન્જલિસ તમે ગૌરવંત છે ના છે બંધ નહીં આપણે ખોલાવી દઈએ એ બસ મળવા જોઈએ એવું લાગે મળ્યા કે પછી હું બધું ખોલાવી દઉં હવે તમે કામ કરજો બાબુ નંબર બંબર લઈ લો કોઈ પણ રીતે એને કોન્ટેક્ટ કરી बात कही कि भाई हमको कॉन्टेक्ट क्यों माय अंकल नहीं माय फ्रेंड अंकल के तो वो लोग कहते कि भाई कमर आप तो गली को उतार लो ये पहली बार तकलीफ लगी कि एक बार हम गाजा हो जाएगा ना उसके बाद फिर हाजिर हो गए
Very glad to appreciate this. This is the list of all our centuries.
Around but these numbers are wrong, I think.
Those numbers probably need to be updated. But if you type from the website,
ऑनलाइन
किताब दे दो वापस अगर नंबर गलत तो आप क्या करोगे किताब का
नहीं
वो ऑनलाइन देख लेंगे
हाँ
if you check, if you
ओके थैंक यू वेरी मच ब्रायन थैंक यू
okay, no, you want to keep?
रखो रखो स्टडी करना करो
सेंटी तो करना है,
नहीं नहीं
होते हैं हमारे।
इसको घर पे करते हैं अब फ्री तो हो गए
हरे कृष्ण।
हरे थैंक यू फ्रेंड
Here you don't have that. प्रभु इधर है कि नहीं, क्या बोला
नहीं है।
नहीं इधर नहीं है
नहीं
दुनिया को मोबाइल पे बोला
नहीं प्रभु प्रभु की
प्रभु को बुला
प्रभु करे नहीं तो प्यार वो ऐसे भी उससे होता है। प्रभु के बुलाना बस, ऐसा नहीं गए इधर आओ आओ नेक्स्ट टाइम तुम नहीं जाना ढूंढा। I give respect to all. गुरुदेव 32 दिन दलाली पूरा यूरोप पर रुके हैं। When 3 days are allowed in one temple. ये 10 दिवस थोड़े नहीं, क्या मुझे जाना है? मुझे जाना तो है ये।
कृष्ण कीर्तन गानन कनपरौ प्रेमामृता वनिधि वीरा धीर जन प्रियो तौ कृष्ण कीर्तन गान नर्तन प्रभु प्रेमामृतां वनिधि धीर धीर जन प्रिय प्रिय करो पूजित चैतन्य कृपा भरौ भुवि भुव भारा तारक वंदे रूप सनातन रघुजुगौ श्री जीव गोपालक वंदे रूप सनातन रघुजुगौ श्रीजीव गोपालक कृष्ण कीर्तन गान कीर्तन गान नर्तन परम प्रेम वीर वीर जन प्रिय प्रिय करो पूजितम् चैतन्य कृपा भरौ श्री चैतन्य कृपा भरौ भुवि भुव मारव अंतरक वंदे रूप सनातन रघुजुगौ श्रीजीव गोपालक शास्त्र विचारणै कल्पना सद्धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणं त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरणं करो विचारणै कल्पना सद्धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणं त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरणं विचारणै कल्पना सद्धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणं त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरणं श्री चैतन्य कृपावरौ लोकानां हितकारिणं त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरणं करो विचारणै कल्पना सद्धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणं त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरणं करो राधा कृष्ण राधा कृष्ण पदारविन्दौ भजनामृतौ राधा कृष्ण पदारविन्दौ भजना नंदेन मत्तालिका वंदे रूप सनातनं रघुजुगौ श्री कृष्ण कीर्तन गान नर्तन परौ प्रेम मनेसी वीर वीर जनप्रिय प्रेम पूजित श्री चैतन्य कृपा भरौ भुवि भुवा मारामन्त रखौ वन्दे रूप सनातनं रघुजग वासुदेव सदसुरे दुष्टदसुरे सुतराज्यलक्ष्मी धन्यश्च आर्जवदस जगदाद रन्ना चक्वा मंडलस्नी सदा तुच्छव भूत्वा दीनगणे शतो करुणया वासुदो मंडलपति शनि
हम जाते हैं और सबको बातें करते हैं, सब प्यारे रहते हैं, दुनिया में सब बीजेपी वाले होते हैं, बीजेपी वाले ज़्यादा हिम्मत करते हैं, हमारा ये मजाक चलता रहता है। So Do you play?
No. Stop. The overlapping.
Anything you play guitar?
Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimatse Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimatse Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Asachari Satarine Namaste Saraswate Devi Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Yadvita Radha Srivasari Hare Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Yadvita Radha Srivasari Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Yadvita Radha Srivasari Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Vishnupada Paramahansa, Parudikacharya Astoto Tadashishimad, His Divine Grace.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Galara Angakashito
Hare Krishna, thank you very much for coming tonight to our Sunday feast. And it was a wonderful kirtan. Next we will be having our speaker. So I'd like to ask everyone to rotate and face the large seat over there. And if you're close to the door, it doesn't look like anybody is, please move in a little bit because the room will fill up. Before we get started, this is an audience participation opportunity. Reach into your pockets, your purses, your jackets, and pull out your cell phone, and please turn them to silent so we don't have beeps, buzzes, or other extraneous noise during our talk. Our speaker tonight is Rajendranandana Prabhu, longtime member of the movement, a disciple of our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada. He and his wife Chatura Dasi of Laurel have been longtime members of SanDiego. Raj has served as president here. He was in Hawaii at some time, and now he spends his time between SanDiego and the Holy Dham of Mayapur, for which we're very grateful he's here right now. So he will be speaking on Bhagavad Gita, it looks like, and we will turn it over to him. Thank you again very much. Hare Krishna.
What's that about? Haven't done a dang thing yet. Hare Krishna. Maybe a little touch. There's red switches. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari
Jai Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodhanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yasodhanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yasodhanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yasodhanandana Brajjana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Girari Radha Girari Radhe Jaya Radha Girari Radha Girari Radhe Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ke Jai Vishpad Paramamsa Prabhupada Sotara Sata Shishimade Isi Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ke ISKCON founder Charya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ke Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ke Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ke Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shishi Guru and Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishnu Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So as Radhapriya mentioned, my name's Rajendra Nananadas. I'm happy to be in your company tonight. I know she made the announcement, but can I reinforce it? Do you mind just coming in a little closer, closing in the gaps? Come on, we're going to have more devotees, more guests come. You know we are. Closer to Prasadam, the more and more people file in. Thank you so much. So I thought tonight we could revisit a topic that some of us Tuesday evening at Radhadasi's and Yudhishthira Prabhu's house discussed. It's a beautiful verse, it's a beautiful concept. It enlivened all of us, our sharing with each other realizations in this particular point. And so I thought I would read a verse and purport and discuss some of the corresponding verses that are very sweet, very encouraging. So I hope you'll forgive if you think it is, yes, redundant, but hopefully it will not be like that. That would be a sign of some mundanity, but there's none of that here in these verses. And I'll do my best to repeat the words of our spiritual master in regards to this truth and philosophy of Krishna consciousness. So, even before we start, could we say some prayers together asking for Srila Prabhupada's mercy? If you know him, please chant along. If not, then we're praying to Srila Prabhupada, members of our chain of teachers, and for the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates and Radha and Krishna and their associates. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gnananjana Salakya Chakshun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swabadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shiyuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shiva Shakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karana Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gourange Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhana Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakopatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're going to read a verse from the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. This is spoken by Lord Krishna. Are all of you familiar? Are you any first-timers here? No, you've been here before, haven't you? You're kidding me. Where have you been hiding? Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is a source or an origin of everything. And that source is Krishna. Known by many names, but he is the origin, the maintainer, the annihilator of all that is in this material world. And we come from Krishna. We are eternally united with Krishna. And we're going to talk about an aspect of the process of reuniting with him in service, spiritual, devotional service, and some of its benefits. So this is the 40th verse in the second chapter. Neha Vikrama Nasosti Pratyavayo Navidyate Swapamapyasya Dharmasya Trayate Matobayat. Please repeat after me. There is not. Iha, in this yoga, Abhikrama, in endeavoring. Nasha, loss. Asti, there is. Pratyavaya, diminution. Never. Vidyate, there is. Suopam, a little. Api, although. Asya, of this. Dharmasya, occupation. Trayate, releases. Mahata, from very great. Bhayat, danger. Translation, in this endeavor, and the endeavor is talking about Krishna consciousness, serving Krishna, trying to please Krishna. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution. And a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Please repeat. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution. And a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Srila Prabhupada's explanation, purport. Activity in Krishna consciousness, or acting for the benefit of Krishna, without expectation of sense gratification, self-directed pleasure, is the highest transcendental quality of work. Even a small beginning of such activity finds no impediment, nor can that small beginning be lost at any stage. Any work begun on the material plane has to be completed. Otherwise, the whole attempt becomes a failure. But any work begun in Krishna consciousness has a permanent effect, even though not finished. The performer of such work is therefore not at a loss, even if his work in Krishna consciousness is incomplete. 1% done in Krishna consciousness bears permanent results, so that the next beginning is from the point of 2%. Whereas in material activity, without 100% success, there's no profit. Ajamamil performed his duty in some percentage of Krishna consciousness, but the result he enjoyed at the end was 100% by the grace of the Lord. There's a nice verse in this connection in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.17. Tutkasa dharmam charanam bhajam hare bhajana apo tapate tato yadi yatra kwa va badram abhud amushikim kovarta apto bhajatam sadharmata. If someone gives up his occupational duties and works in Krishna consciousness and then falls down or falls away on account of not completing his work, what loss is there on his part? And what can one gain if one performs his material activities perfectly? End quote. Or as the Christians say, what profiteth a man if he gains the whole world, yet suffers the loss of his eternal soul? Material activities and their results end with the body, but work in Krishna consciousness carries a person again to Krishna consciousness, even after the loss of the body. At least one is sure to have a chance in the next life of being born again as a human being, either in the family of a great cultured Brahmana or in a rich aristocratic family that will give one a further chance for elevation. That's the unique quality of work done in Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada ki. So Srila Prabhupada, he started this spiritual movement. And the word spiritual is bandied about an awful lot. You know, I'm into spiritual things, I'm a spiritualist, etc. But the science of spirit is given by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Right in the very beginning, there was a real problem for Arjuna. He was about to enter into a war with his dearest loved ones on the other side. His grandfather, cousin, brothers, millions of people were assembled. And he just didn't want to kill them. He realized, my God, why would I want to win a kingdom from this war if all the ones I love have known and, shared life with, they're gone. Blood-stained spoils. I have no desire for that. But the fact of the matter is, Krishna wanted that the kingdom be ruled by Arjuna and his elder brother, Yudhisthira. Krishna wanted something. And so, in order to help Arjuna become free of the anxiety he had, the great, it was real anxiety attack. I mean, he was so stricken with remorse, with fear, with anxiety that he couldn't even hold his bow. He was shaking, and he was overwhelmed with the thought of killing all his loved ones. So the first thing Krishna told him was, you're not your body. Yes, the body's going to end. But for the person who you actually love, there is no birth, there is no death. Najayate mriyate vakatajin nayam bhutva bhavitana bhuya jo shashvato yam Shashvato, what is it, Purano? Nahanyate hanyamane sharira. This soul is never born, it never dies, it's eternal, primeval. It is always going to exist, always has existed. There's no loss for the spirit soul. And how is that possible? Because Krishna is eternal, and we are part and parcel of Krishna. We are eternally related with Krishna. So Krishna is trying to get us, once again, reunited with Him in eternal reality. He wants us to be happy. And whatever it takes for us to become jolted out of the illusory bodily concept of life, which is the source of all our anxieties, our fears, our miseries, He can arrange it in such a way for His surrendering devotee, for His surrendered devotee, that it has the effect that's necessary. Yes, I simply want to surrender to you. I want to give up my own selfishness, my own attachments to that which is temporary and that which is not me, and to be reunited in loving devotion to you. So, this activity of Krishna consciousness, it is non-different from Krishna. Krishna is transcendental. Anything in relationship to Krishna is transcendental. Krishna is absolute. So, the activity of Krishna consciousness is not of this world. It may look like we're singing and dancing, and just around the corner or down the street they may have some band playing and some dancing going on. The two are, there's a world of difference between them. The benefit of one is there's some titillation of the senses and maybe some mental satisfaction, or I'm making my moves on somebody, I'm going home tonight, I'm not going home alone, etc., etc. But all that ends. Even if it's the perfect night, the perfect date, or what have you, the next morning you wake up, you may have your headache, your hangover, or you got to go back to work, it stops. And all you have as a result of it is the reaction of that activity. Any activity that's not in relationship to Krishna bears a material result. Material activities bear material results. Material desire spawns or causes more material desire. Now, Krishna consciousness, who couldn't perceive the joy, the happiness of our singing and dancing together this evening? But that's transcendental. It's spiritual. It's the mercy of Krishna descending from the spiritual kingdom into our ears, on our tongues, and in our heart. And even if you don't realize that, let me tell you something special about spiritual activities in relationship to pleasing Krishna. First of all, we were happy because Krishna was happy. Being part and parcel of Krishna, the reality of it is when He's pleased, we'll be pleased. In this material world, we got everything backwards. In illusion, we're trying to please ourselves. And basically, in the material world, that means a very competitive, exploitive, manipulative life of envy. Top dog takes all, king of the hill, let's go for it. Let's accumulate all we can. Who cares who else suffers or bears the weight of it? That's greed. That's material. Has nothing to do with material life, with spiritual life rather. Nothing to do with it. And those things may temporarily titillate the mind, and you may think, oh, I'm powerful, and I'm enjoying, I'm doing what I want to do, I did it my way, etc. But those things are all taken away, if no sooner than by old age, disease, and death. Death takes it all away. What are you left with? The only thing, you lose your body, and the only thing you and your subtle body take with you to the next birth is the karma, the results of those activities. And the more exploitive and selfish you are, the more degraded you become in your next life. So for the new folks, this is the principle of reincarnation that's very intimately related to karma. Being eternal, we've had so many material bodies. This is not our first, rodeo. We've been trying to be happy separately from Krishna since time immemorial. No one can trace out when we started this whole rat race attempt to compete with Krishna. But in spiritual life, there is no results on the mundane platform. 1%, if that's where you walk in one night and you had a good time and we never see you again, Srila Prabhupada will be very happy that you got your foot in the door. Because the next time you take up spiritual life, a spiritual activity that will please Krishna, you start from 2%. You don't lose where you what you started and didn't finish. This is a very important point. Spiritual life, there is no loss. Service to Krishna, there is no loss. It's of the eternal energy, the transcendence, absolute nature of Krishna. It's actually under the dominion of his spiritual pleasure-giving potency, Ladani Shakti, Shrimati Radharani. And he's always mindful, whatever little we've done, because he is hoping, unlimitedly hoping, that we will wise up and return to him, voluntarily surrendering, wanting to please him in devotional loving service. So he never forgets a thing that we've done. As such, you can easily say he's our best friend. You know, so many of you rendered, I've known some of you for practically a couple of decades, and you've done so many things for me, but I don't remember everything you've done for me. Just like it came to me after Prabhupada's disappearance evening, we call it the Remembrance Festival. Guru Krishna Prabhu, he said, "Oh, nice t-shirt." I had a shirt of Srila Prabhupada on. And it was from a festival from LA maybe 3-4 years earlier. And I didn't click until later on that evening when I was home. Oh my gosh, Guru Krishna gave me this t-shirt. Now he probably remembered it when he said, "Nice t-shirt." You know, but what kind of friend am I? I'm no Krishna, I'll tell you. Because even though service was rendered, and I very much appreciated it at the time, but then sometime later, you know, I've forgotten. Krishna doesn't forget a thing. He eternally, that's part of his omniscience, that he remembers everything. He knows everyone and remembers everything. And even if I had remembered, how could I sufficiently thank him? Reciprocate, reward him, show my pleasure. You know, it's very limited. Very, very limited. But Krishna, he has unlimited resources. He, you know, everything comes from him. Everything is his. The analogy is sometimes said, we have 2 arms, but let's just say Krishna has 10. What can you bear in your 2 hands, what he can give you with his 10? A sweet little pastime to sprinkle into this talk would be one time little Krishna. Now Krishna is eternal. His form is eternal. It's transcendental. It's absolute. In the spiritual world, this is how he looks. Transcendently resplendent, fulgent, beautiful. He makes his ornaments and his dress look beautiful. And he's at the side of Srimati Radharani. But in his manifest pastimes here in this world, he'll manifest little tiny child activities. It appears as if his body is growing or changing. But these are all eternal activities that he manifests, that he engages in for the pleasure of his devotees. In the spiritual world, although he is looking like this, his mother is always thinking of him as her darling little child. Little tiny child. Dependent on me. If I don't protect him, if I don't, you know, feed him, what will happen to my dear little child? So this mood of surrendered service, selfless, intimate service goes on in the spiritual world. So in his manifest pastimes on this planet, he was a small little child, and a lady came by the house calling out, would anybody like to buy some fruits? I have fruits. Just like one of our friends, Mrs. Madan. Am I right, Mrs. Madan? Gave us the guava and some oranges tonight. Oh, what a nice gift. So the lady was coming by calling out, who wants some fruits? So it was the barter system. They didn't have the worthless paper money, you know, here I'll give you X amount of paper dollars. But there was barter. And so little baby Krishna, what did he have? You know, he's a little child. So he runs inside and he gets some grains to share with her, to trade for the fruit. And so his tiny little hand, just try to imagine, we have our little boy who plays the kartal so nicely. How old is that son, that boy? He's of course, he's with the other children. How old is he? 5 years old. So Krishna was even a little bit younger, so his hands were smaller. But in between his fingers, the grains were slipping out from the space of having grabbed the grains from in the house and going to the lady with the the basket of fruits. By the time he got there, it was just a tiny little nothing, just a few grains of rice left. But she was so overwhelmed with the beauty of this child and with his attempt to try and trade for some of her fruits. And the child wanted fruit, so she gave him as much fruits as he could hold. And he was very happy to receive it and take it. And so, you know, you might think, well, what did she get? She surrendered something to Krishna. Did she lose out? There was no profit in that exchange. No, so she walked on down the road. You know, you cover your fruits from the... Forgive me, this is rural, you know. Covers the fruits, flies aren't on, whatever. She covers up, and then the next time she opens up her basket, the fruit's gone and it's filled with priceless jewels. Now what Krishna is offering you and I is, you and me, offering me, you and me, is far more valuable than jewels. He's offering us the opportunity to engage in loving reciprocations with Him. He wants us to serve Him in some devotional relationship, as a servant, as a friend, as a parent, as a beloved. He wants it more than we can imagine. And from His part, He simply wants to reciprocate that love. He wants us to serve Him, and He's ever ready to serve those who are trying to please Him full-heartedly. So He wants to give us Krishna consciousness. It's there within our heart. We've simply forgotten it. It's been covered over by all our material desires and our illusion of identifying with the body, thinking that we're not connected to Krishna, that we're not Krishna's eternal servant. But it's there. And these activities that are being passed down from the spiritual world, that are under the, that are part and parcel of this spiritual pleasure-giving potency of the Lord, the divine spiritual energy of the Lord. These are the source of unlimited happiness. It is far more precious than anything of this world. In fact, this verse that we read in the purport by Narada Muni from the first canto, first chapter, or 5th chapter, he was saying, who cares if you perform your duties of this world perfectly? What are you going to get for it? Another material body and have to go through the same old of, repeated birth and death, old age and disease, and all the miseries in between. But if you take to Krishna consciousness, even if you don't complete it in this one life, you don't lose it in the next life. You're guaranteed to take it up where you begin, where you left off, rather. Now, right there, part of the understanding of that is you're going to get another human form of life. Now, we're taking it for granted. I'm human, you're human, I'm American, you're Indian, whatever you may be. But you got it together. A lot of people, the 7 billion, among the 7 billion people on the planet, a lot of them are suffering tremendously. We don't even want to think about some of the horrors and the tragedies that are going on in many parts of the world. Hare Krishna. Better them than us. This is the way the materialist thinks. We're illusioned. I'm doing good. My family's okay. But the point being, kind of the horrors kind of distracted me. The point was that the human form of life is so rare. And even if it's a good one, it's temporary. But even though it is temporary, it is in the human form, and basically we say only in the human form are you able to engage in activities to please Krishna. At least be conscientious that I am serving and pleasing Krishna. It is in the human form of life we've been given the God-given intelligence to pursue this growth in Krishna consciousness. We're able to increase our desire to please Krishna more and more. And honestly speaking, the culture, the society, the association that surrounds us at every turn, greatest majority of them are engaged in activities that are stealing away the human form of life. If somehow or other they don't get to hear about or given an opportunity to come in touch with the spiritual activity of connecting with Krishna, most of that which goes on as the norm these days is forcing them to lose the human form of life. And depending on how horrible, how selfish, how exploitive they were, will decide how far down the evolutionary ladder they fall down. Any life form is a combination of the soul, that spiritual person, and the body, a body out of some species. And we're talking about from germs on up to the highest, most elevated denizens of this universe. But the verse after this, in the 5th chapter of the 1st canto of Bhagavatam that we read by Narada Muni, it says, you should be striving for that which you can't get from the highest to the lowest in this universe. Spiritual life, Krishna consciousness is not of this world. The pleasures of this world, essentially, even if you're enjoying heavenly pleasures, 10,000 years or what have you, some planets even more, kind of inconceivable descriptions, but let's just say you've got a long, long life of pleasure. So many scriptures talk about, things of paradise, etc. But all these pleasures of this material world have a beginning and end, and actually they're similar to that which is experienced by the lower species. The dog that's sleeping out on the sidewalk tonight, a dog without a home, when he hits the deep sleep cycles, he's enjoying sleep just as much as you are on your very big expensive bed. Or when he fills his belly with the food that he gets out of the garbage can. That sense of satisfaction is the same sense that you experience when you've paid, who knows how much at the finest, restaurants in the Gaslamp district. All these pleasures are the same because of the bewilderment of the eternal soul accepting that which is not. I'm this body and I'm enjoying these bodily pleasures, mental pleasures. So we're meant to strive for that which is beyond this world, beyond this universe, beyond this material creation. And when I was saying this gift that we're being offered is far more greater than any priceless jewels, there's another little story where there's a spiritual master in our line of teachers known as Sanatana Goswami. And he would do his bhajan there in Vrindavan, worshiping Lord Krishna, serving the Lord in so many wonderful ways. And although you may take this as being exaggerated, previously it's understood that there was an alchemical process where you could turn bell metal to gold. Or there was such a thing known as a touchstone. You hear fables of such things that, you touch the metal and it turns to gold. So these things in India, I was there in the mid-70s, mid to late 70s, and still it's such a mystical place. It's like another, it was certainly back then like another planet. You would hear so many supernatural, mystical, spiritual things. So anyway, Sanatana Goswami, he was approached by a pilgrim and said, could you please, kindly, the man fell at his feet, showing his submission and his respect, could you please benedict me? Give me your blessings. Give me the greatest gift you have. And so he said, well, here, I have a touchstone. And he gave him he said, go over here and take the touchstone. So the man looked and, it was over in some garbage. Well, gosh, this touchstone could turn anything to gold. Hey, I'll dig through the garbage, no problem. He got it and he went and he started, accumulating wealth with the gift of the touchstone. And then it kind of dawned on him, wait a second. If this is such a valuable gift, why was he keeping it in the garbage? So he went back to him. He said, this really isn't your most valuable possession, is it? He said, no. Well, I was asking for the most valuable gift you could give me, your greatest blessing. And Sanatana Goswami, basically he understood, well, you weren't ready for it. If you really want the greatest gift that I can offer you, then you have to throw away the touchstone. Throw it into this lake. And he threw it away. Now, today's, culture and society would say, what an idiot. God, he could have had unlimited wealth. But he threw it away. What a gamble. But he had faith. He knew of Sanatana Goswami's exalted saintliness. And he knew, if he's saying he has something greater to give me, then let me go for it. What is this greatest blessing? You know what he gave him? He gave him the chanting of Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Right now, in this day and age, that is the key to everything. In Bhagavad Gita, we were reading from Bhagavad Gita, Krishna saying, surrender unto me. You give up everything else and surrender to me. Then don't worry, I'll deliver you. Lord Chaitanya doesn't say like that. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna, but he's in the mood of the servant and the devotee of Krishna. And he comes and he says, just take service to Krishna. Just take love for Krishna. I'm giving it away, qualified or unqualified, surrendered or not. And this is the mood of Srila Prabhupada. Everybody is welcome through those two doors. Everybody is welcome to chant Hare Krishna. And everybody, we're encouraged, please stick around long enough after this, discussion. Have a little more chanting with us, and then down and honor some foodstuffs that have been offered to the Lord with devotion and transformed into spiritual substance. The mercy, manifest mercy of the Lord. And even though it may be delicious, intoxicating, this and that, it also has eternal benefit. Right now, at this time, this day and age, the chanting of Hare Krishna is everything. And that's what Sanatana Goswami gave to that pilgrim. And that's what Srila Prabhupada is offering to all of us. And whether you take to it wholeheartedly, surrendering your whole life in pursuance, yes, I want to throw everything else away. Now that's figuratively for us. We're not in the business of throwing everything away. We're trying to throw away our misguided attachments for everything. Everything comes from Krishna, and when one understands that, if one is taught the science of how to use everything in Krishna's service for his pleasure, why would you throw it away? If there's the opportunity to please Krishna with these glasses, with this smartphone, with this microphone, or why would you throw it away? That would be illusion. So, we're being encouraged, give up that which is causing us the misery. It's like sometimes, what's that analogy? I'm trying to think about it. Wasn't something about carrying stones. And there's some analogy or some fable about where somebody was carrying heavy burden. Oh, I know which one will come to mind. One lady, she was a simple devotee. She was a lady in India. You would go out and collect your firewood, and sometimes, so many people, sometimes you'd go great distances from the home to collect the firewood to bring home to cook. And so, I don't know if I've seen the ladies, sometimes they're really big, heavy bundles of sticks, branches, etc. And so the women generally go out together, and then they get their firewood, and then they come back together, and somehow or other she was at the end of the line, and she tripped and she dropped her bundle of sticks. Now, being a simple devotee, when that happened, she went, Krishna! Oh, this is not good news, because she wasn't going to be able to pick it up by herself. All the other ladies had gone. So she called out to Krishna. It was so sincere, her plea, her call, that Krishna appeared. What can I do for you? Well, you know what this simple devotee asked for? Could you please help me pick up the wood and put it back on my head so I can get home for the cook before my husband gets home from the fields? Not the smartest thing to ask from Krishna. But still, there's no loss or diminution in this endeavor. How many of us can say that Krishna has heard our plaintive call and He's appeared before us? So this was no ordinary devotee. And in time, all these things add up where Krishna fulfills our desires, but He's so kind that He does it in such a way we realize, why in the world am I asking for something worth keeping in the garbage? Anything of this world in relationship to the body, the assets, this and that, all the temporary things that we think are ours for our pleasure, they're just tying us up tightly and keeping us bound in the cycle of repeated birth and death in this world. Krishna wants us to have the chains broken, the ropes untied, so that we can become free and enjoy the life of freedom in Krishna consciousness. Because once you enter into that pact with the Lord and act on the platform of trying to please Him, realizing I am His, this life is His, my family is His, my home is His, my talents He's given me are His, and I will utilize everything with that understanding. Let me please you in all the ways and talents and relationships that you've given to me. And trust me when I say, the joy that we experience in the chanting together, it just gets better and better. That's the nature of spiritual activities, Krishna consciousness. How often can you listen? I mean, there's some oldies of goldies, and people, I hear songs on the radio sometimes driving by of people like, wow, still listening to it, huh? But it's like, okay, but you can't just listen to it nonstop. You ask sincere devotees, they can turn on kirtan and have it playing all day, every day, and never get tired of hearing it. In fact, unlike a material activity, let's say eating, when you eat, you become full and you no longer feel hungry, and even though you were absorbed in eating, didn't want to do anything else, when you're full, then you're full, no more eating. I just don't want any more. But when you're full in Krishna consciousness and you're totally satisfied, you will never give up the desire to please Krishna, but instead your desire only increases to let me serve Him, please Him more and more and more. It's quite a unique thing. You're fully satisfied, yet eternally let me continue taking more and more. And upon gazing, Krishna, His beauty is ever increasing, unlimitedly beautiful. And when He sees a devotee trying to please Him, that inspires him. And his beauty increases. And the devotee sees the beauty increased and becomes more inspired to serve, surrender more, let me please Him, try harder and harder. In this way there's competition between Krishna and His devotees. And it's unlimited. And even though at any point there's this full satisfaction, and there are waves in this reciprocation. Sometimes it's, Krishna teases, tricks, and apparently can place his devotees in some emotional turmoil or suffering. But because it's fully absorbed in the reciprocation of love, the devotee would not give it up for anything. In this world, sometimes there's a perverted reflections how some people get attached to the worst partners. That roller coaster of dysfunctional relationship, but that's all they know, and they can't give it up. But in Krishna consciousness, the relationship with Krishna, the activities in relationship to Krishna are so satisfying. As Lord Chaitanya said, even if He embraces me roughly or tries to kick me away, He's my eternal Lord. I would never give Him up. I would never give up His service. The truth of the matter is, how is he even accepting any service from me to begin with? I'm so unqualified. I'm so insignificant. And yet out of his unlimited kindness and compassion, he's allowing me to engage in his service. The devotee never gives up the service of Krishna for anything else. Not when he's attained the love, entered into the love, tasted the love for Krishna. Never, ever. Now in the beginning stages, for the aspirants like you and me, we'll have our ups and downs in Krishna consciousness, but we should not be discouraged in that. Because as one of my godbrothers one time said, a fellow disciple of Srila Prabhupada, he told Srila Prabhupada, this youthful body is nothing but a source of trouble. And I took it to mean that he was saying, I have such difficulty controlling my senses. You know, my desires are just raging. And Prabhupada said, never leave me, and everything will be okay. What that means is never leave Krishna, because the devotee of Krishna, he's not saying, surrender to me, serve me. He's saying, surrender to Krishna and serve Krishna. Now, Krishna is saying, surrender to my devotee and serve him. Because we haven't seen Krishna, but we can see the devotees. And we can hear the devotees. We can feel the devotee when they pull our ear. My Prabhu this morning gave me a couple of suggestions how to improve my service. I heard him. I didn't hear Srila Prabhupada telling me that, even though it was in relationship to being right here in his presence. So Krishna says, surrender to my devotee, take guidance from my devotee, please him to the best of your ability, that will please me. And this is part of the mystery of this devotional service. The relationship with Krishna and the service, the experience is direct. But it's through the transparent medium of a devotee, of your teacher, your guide. And the true teacher and representative of Krishna is unlimitedly compassionate, like Krishna is, like Lord Chaitanya is. And they will see us stumble, they will see us have difficulty, but they're just simply trying to encourage us. No, get up, try again, do it this way, try harder. And slowly but surely, the gradual process of accepting the mercy and accepting the happiness that we're really looking for, developing the conviction that, yes, it is here. I'm not going to hedge my bet anymore. I'm surrendering to Krishna. No more turning aside and, well, maybe I can be happy this way, separate from Krishna. In this material activity, trying to forget Krishna, etc., etc. So, the spiritual master, the devotees of Krishna, like Krishna, are waiting patiently and doing all they can to encourage us. And in that endeavor, it only accumulates. And at some point, you get the point where upon leaving this body, you will remember the Lord, your desire for serving Him will be fulfilled, and that you will no longer have to take another body in this world, and you'll get to serve Him eternally in His abode. So I think that's enough. Time is short. Would anybody like to add anything or ask any questions in this regard? Any thoughts that might have been triggered while hearing discussion about the nature of devotional service in Krishna? Dravida Prabhu?
Why couldn't you keep that custom and use the money for Krishna?
It's a good question. Good question. Why can't I have the best of both worlds? A couple of pastimes are coming to mind, but we can cheat ourselves and delude ourselves, but we can't cheat or delude Krishna or His unalloyed devotees. And it's okay to want to serve Krishna with whatever means you have. Some of us are wealthy, some of us not so. But the attachment we have for such things is what keeps us in this world. True Krishna consciousness is not that I like this, so I'm going to go ahead and offer this so I can externally get the benefit of, hey, look, I'm serving Krishna. Now that's a level of Krishna consciousness. I'm dovetailing my selfish desires in the service of Krishna, and that is purifying. But it's not the highest standard. So if the devotee, the pilgrim, had complete detachment for the touchstone, Sanatana Goswami did. Krishna didn't care if he had it, no problem. If he needed it in the service of Krishna, then he could have used it in Krishna's service. But the pilgrim wasn't at that level. So the spiritual master engages us in such a way that we will break the attachments that we have. And when the detachments are no longer there, like Srila Prabhupada, this is his life. You can read about it in so many books by his disciples. In the beginning, he thought he was on a path to becoming a very wealthy man. Had his own pharmaceutical business, etc., contracts throughout India, etc. And his thought was, I'm going to become rich, and then I'm going to execute the order of my spiritual master to spread Krishna consciousness. Well, Krishna had other plans. He took all his wealth away, frustrated that desire completely. All his stock was stolen, was missing, and he was left with nothing but debts. And so his desire to become rich was never fulfilled. That didn't stop him from trying to fulfill the order of his spiritual master to come to the West and preach. And then in time, when he executed that order and came here to America in the mid-60s, and kept to it despite all challenges, and in the beginning simply being alone, with no assistance, no association, externally speaking whatsoever, showing his complete surrender to the Lord in time. I mean, his investment he brought over how many rupees was it? 40 rupees to America when he came. And then he would sometimes, to encourage others, every day, how much value of books was being distributed? Tens of thousands of dollars of books were being distributed every day worldwide, and it was all in his name, his book trust. And he said, I was homeless, penniless when I came to America. Now I have homes in like over 100 places, 100 temples where I could go. And he could have kicked back and relaxed and called it a day in any of them. The devotees would have been so happy. But he was not attached to any of it at all. It was all Krishna's, to be used in Krishna's service. As he taught us, not a farthing, not a paisa, not a penny should be misused and thought to be mine, but it should all be used in the service of Krishna. That's how he taught us, that's how he lived. And with that mentality, then you can have a touchstone. Krishna will give you many of them if that is necessary for your service. Any other question? That was a good one. Okay, this is what one Prabhu does. This will take 2 minutes. 3 things. Tell me one thing that you liked this evening that caught your attention, or at least that you heard that you thought was worth hearing. Just give me one thing. Anybody? The music was beautiful. Thank you. Hare Krishna. My friend. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada's mercy. Yes, my friend? Can we reread that then? Text 40. In this endeavor of Krishna consciousness, there's no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. And what do you think that most dangerous type of fear is? I don't know if I highlighted that sufficiently. Chatura? Losing the human form of birth. We may be afraid of so many things, but boy, if we had any memory of what we've gone through in the cycle of evolution of birth and death and all those species, we would be insane. It's Krishna's mercy that we've forgotten it. We just remember enough. Let me be motivated to surrender to Krishna. One last thing. Yeah. Yes, Prabhu.
I looked up this pastime you mentioned about the food lady.
Oh, please.
I looked it up in the Gopal Temple, but so for me, this is
Just now?
yeah.
Used in Krishna's service.
So I remembered that I reviewed. So what it says there, what Goswami says about that pastime, you realize he's expanded on a little. That the food lady, when she got the jewels, she went home, but she was so enthralled with the beauty of Krishna, to see Krishna, that she didn't even notice that the jewels were in the basket. She just left them at home and went back. We went home to see if she could see them again.
Jai, Chatura, Vasanta Prabhu.
There is no reaction to that. So I really like that. It's like infinite. Infinite, whatever attaches to that is infinite.
Wonderful. Yeah. Associate with the, go out into the bright sunshine, you're going to feel the warmth and benefit from the light. If you associate with Krishna, you'll become Krishnized. We'll become godly and be reunited with Him. That's the quality, to be reunited with Krishna. We have to be on the same platform. In the spiritual world, it's all, only currency is love. Love and mercy. This is the world of justice, and we get what we deserve. But there, it's just unlimited, loving reciprocation. So I think I'll stop there, and I thank you so much for contributing, every one of you. And let's have some more wonderful kirtan. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Dhanraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Gaura Premanandi.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. That was wonderful. So we'll have a little kirtan now, and just so you know, the feast is not sponsored. You will need to get a ticket. They're available out in the gift shop. You can do that now. We will have a kirtan till about 7:15, and then we will serve prasad. Thank you so much.
Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Cartels, pretty cartels.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,